I was at a party the other day and I was talking to an 11-year-old girl at a party, and she said to me, when you was a little boy, what was your favourite thing to eat? And I said to her, chocolate. And then she went to me, when you was a little boy, what did you want to be when you was grown up? And I immediately said, a cowboy. And that went completely over her head, because she didn't know what a cowboy was. Because in this day and age, who does? As a young person, cowboys was a big thing when I was a kid. But alas, no more. But it did get me to thinking about what we want to be, who we want to be, and all that kind of stuff. And when you're a child, it feels as though there's no limitations. You can be what you want to be. And that's great. But how is it that somewhere along the way, things change for us? And as we get older, we become more serious. And the things that we wanted to be when we're young, the things that seemed attainable then, change and then don't feel quite so attainable as we get older. And I wonder why that is. I think it is, what it is, is we're conditioned, we're primed in such a way as that we're led to believe through the school system and through growing older. As we get older, we're expected to have more responsibility. And I can remember meeting with the careers officer when I was getting ready to leave school, and they were trying to point me in a direction. And I was saying to them, you don't understand. I'm going to be an amusement arcade owner. And they were like, no, that's pie in the sky. I went, but my dad is. It was obvious I was going to follow what my dad was going to be. Because what I wanted to be at 15, 16 was a radio DJ. I wanted to be a DJ like Emperor Roscoe, who was a superstar DJ in the UK. I wanted to be on Radio 1 and do the breakfast show. But my dad told me that wasn't something that was likely to happen. It's something for the few. But you could run an arcade because this is what we do. And I kind of went along that route for a while. And at 20, coming from a fairground background, I decided to buy a ride and go travelling on fairgrounds, which I could do because that's where I come from. Although I'd spent all my life down the coast and had no idea how to run a ride and keep it mechanically going and all that. It was a major learning curve. I bought it in the February and had to learn everything by April when I pulled out. And it's funny, you do these things as you get older. I couldn't wait for independence. I couldn't wait to get on my own and start to live my life the way that I wanted to. But even as a self-employed man, I couldn't do that because I thought once I'd left home and I'd got my own business, that it was all down to me. But it's not. It's down to customers. When you work for yourself, if you don't get no customers, you don't take no money. And if you don't take no money, the bank manager's not going to be very happy if you've got payments to make and things like that. And so we change along the way. And for the most part, we do things that we need to do, but we take our eye very often off the ball. We do not what we wanted to do, but what we felt was right to do. Some of us go into jobs, I know this, people go into jobs because you leave school and you need to work and you get a job. And that's harder now than it has ever been. But you get a job and you try to stay there and learn and get a raise and get a better position and all that sort of thing. But for many people, they go into a job just because it's something and stay in that career path right the way through, because suddenly the things that they wanted to do seem to be a dream that are unattainable. Let me tell you something. In January of 2009, I was 48. And I'd listened to online radio and listened to a guy called Big Daddy Donald Roberts over in Canada. And I chatted to him and we talked about things, and I said that I'd always wanted to be one. And he went, well, be one then. And it was like that simple. I had all the equipment to do it because I was a DJ at the time, doing discos and weddings and playing at soul shows and all that sort of stuff, soul events. And he went, well, then just do it. And so I did. What I did, I thought to myself, I used to send out newsletters to my clients for the discos to tell them what I was up to and what was coming. And I had the brainwave that I would turn the radio shows into as a newsletter. So I made some radio shows and sent them out by email as a newsletter. They could click on the link and hear the radio shows. And it was just another way of promotion. And then a couple of my friends who'd known me for years went, James, do you remember when we used to go to the discos and all them good records? You should make some radio shows like that. And so I did. And I ended up, someone said to me I should try and get an online show. And I did. And I went to an online station and got a show on there playing bits and pieces of the stuff that I liked. And they went to me, you're too good for this station, you should go to another station. And they pointed me into the direction of another station. I went there. And then over the next 8 years, from 2009 to 2017, I played radio shows. I started off on the internet, then I got some local hospital radio shows, and then my shows went out. I just kept trying to get them pushed out. I started to get small channels around the world. I had one as far away as the top half of New Zealand. I had local shows, and then my shows I used to start to get smaller FM stations around the world, in America particularly. I had loads. I think at one stage I had 64 stations taking my shows. And then I got on the only English speaking station in China, and I was getting in excess of 800,000 listeners per show, which is more than a lot of local radio stations in the UK get for their shows, by miles actually. And I did what I wanted to do, and it took me from being a young teenager to 48 years old to actually start to do the thing I wanted to do with my life. Isn't that funny? And I did it for a while, and in the end I lost my enthusiasm for it. But I actually did the thing I wanted to do. I started this YouTube channel because I wanted to tell stories to my children, to pass on experiences and things that I'd learned along the way to help them. I now do exactly the same thing, but for a wider audience, including you. Some of the things that I say will resonate. Some of the things that I say won't. And that's fine. But I love doing what I'm doing. Don't get me wrong, I get frustrated at times. I didn't start the channel thinking about growing a YouTube channel. I thought about telling stories and things to my two sons. Now, I've got a subscriber list of over 5,000. They don't all listen. It's not as grand as it sounds. But I love doing what I'm doing. I love the fact that I can say something that may strike a chord with somebody and help them in a situation they're going through. How great can that be? It's humbling when you hear that something you've said has made a difference to someone. But it's also intensely gratifying. And that's why I do it. And the things that when I was a little boy wanting to be a cowboy was what I wanted to do then. And now, at 65, this is something I love. I love sharing the stories. I love talking about the different subjects. I love the fact that I may say something that will make you laugh. I may say something that will make you think. And I may say something that's really boring and you'll switch me off. But the thing is, I love doing what I'm doing. And all this little 10, 12 minutes or whatever it is I've been chatting to you, if you're still here, is about. What it's about is, what about you? What are the things that you wanted to do with your life? Have you had a go for them? Have you achieved doing the things that you wanted to do in your life? Those things can change. They did for me. What people think of as a success doesn't really matter. What matters to me is that I've actually gone for what I wanted to do. What I just want to say is, what about you? Are you gone for the things you want to do? Is there something out there that you'd like to do but you still haven't done? Well, my message for you today is to go for it. What have you got to lose? Why not go and do things in your life that you really want to do? If there is something out there that you've always wished to do and you've never done, put a plan in place. Do step 1, and then step 2 and step 3, and you never know where you're going to end up. This life can be great. It can be a grind, I know. But depending on how you look on it and then how you depend on the perspective that you think about things and the way you look at things, you can do the things that you want to in this life. And why not start now? That's all I've got to say here. Why not start now? I'm going to put another video up there, and hopefully that will help you think about things in your life and where you want them to be. I'll see you next time.